won't stop the beat and go.
Hi everyone, my name is Daniela Garcia and I'm here to share with you all a little bit about my experience doing service learning in Italy and Greece. So the first organization that we visited was Baobab Experience, and our mission there was to give the refugees the donated clothing. Once we started doing that, we quickly realized and learned that the refugees had a distinct sense of style, and they were not shy at all. They were not shy to share with us their name, where they came from, what they were doing now with their lives. Despite the language barrier, we were still able to learn a lot from each other. For instance, I learned most of the refugees were from Tunisia, Somalia, and Nigeria. Some of them had been there for a few days, others had been there for a few months. Some of them also knew a little bit of Spanish and a little bit of French. So that was very cool to learn and to just have a normal conversation with them. And then all of a sudden, in the middle of our service learning, a fight broke up. And in that moment, I just hoped that there would be enough clothing for everyone. Because when you're a refugee and you put yourself in their shoes and you think about just everything that they have gone through, walking miles upon miles on land, crossing oceans and seas, and endured severe conditions to finally find a place where they can be safe and call home. I mean, it's understandable that a fight would break out, and it's understandable that they would want the best supplies. And so when that happened, that was my only thought. I hope that there's enough clothing, and thankfully there was. And then after that, we met another young refugee. His name is Tariq, and he's 12 years old. And we actually ran into him going back home in the metro system. And we learned in a conversation that he was having with Leo, I heard that Leo told him, if you want to be successful, learn English. And he responded with, yes, I'm going to learn soon. And I was very happy to hear that, because I could imagine the opportunities that would open up for him and his family. And I started thinking about the refugee children and how they don't really get to have a childhood. They have to grow up really fast, and they have to learn how to not only protect themselves, but protect their families as well. So I feel motivated to learn more about refugee children and how I can give back. And then after that, we went to Casa Scalabrini. And here our group was divided into 3 groups. Some of us were creating an episode for the podcast, another group was cleaning, and then my group was cooking with 2 gentlemen named Sanab and Godwin. Once we started cooking the momo balls and the spaghetti, it was very evident to see their talent and passion put into action. It was very nice to just learn something new and to have a conversation with them, and also to share a little bit about our own culture to them. I remember Godwin was speaking with my friend Chelsea, and they were talking about Colombia. And so he was wondering how to dance salsa. And so all of a sudden, I just said, "Hey, why don't we put salsa and I'll teach you?" And so it was a very special bonding moment to just kind of teach him how to dance salsa and to move to the rhythm, and then before we knew it, everyone was dancing salsa. So it was very nice to share that moment with him. And after that, while we were having dinner, I met another refugee named Fazizi, and he shared with me a booklet where he had all his sculptures. And one of the sculptures caught my attention, and it was three sculptures in one. It was a man drowning, then someone had thrown him a life jacket, and then the last sculpture was him being saved with the life jacket. And it made me think about my faith and how God, for me, can be that life jacket in certain times in my life. And without telling him anything, I asked him, "Hey, who is this life jacket for you, or what does this symbolize for you?" And he said, "God." And it was just a very special moment to share our faith in common. And it was refreshing to see his positive attitude, and to see that despite his past and the things that he has endured, he does not let those things define him or his identity or his future. And it was refreshing to know and to be reminded to be grateful for those small things in life and to appreciate everything that we have in our lives. That was the end of our service training in Italy. Afterwards, we went to Greece, and our first organization in Greece was the S.O.S. Children's Village. And we had the opportunity to have conversations with the children and also share a meal. And despite the language barrier, just spending time with them, playing patty cake with them, and sharing with them the little bit of Greek that we knew was special, and it was a language of its own. I learned that these kids, they just wanted to be heard, or they wanted to know that they can teach us something new too. So that was really nice. And after that, we learned that the S.O.S. fathers are actually the psychologists, and so they focus a lot on securing the well-being of the child, and that's why we didn't have a lot of time with them. But still, it was very nice to see their smiles once they received the health kits that the health students had prepared for them. And it was good to see that moment where they were opening up their health kits and discovering that there was yet more to discover in the little bottles. And then after that, we had the opportunity to bottle olive oil. And we were just bottling olive oil, but it was very great to know that these bottles of olive oil were going to be donated to the local communities. So it was nice because not only do they receive donations, but they also give back to the communities that donate to them. So that was the S.O.S. Children's Village, and then after that we went to Praksis, and this was an organization that received clothing donations to give people in need the ultimate shopping experience. And so during our time there, we met two gentlemen named Pepino and Andreas. And so they had special requests. They wanted athletic pants, they wanted button-down shirts, blue specifically. So I learned a little bit of Greek there, and it was just very nice to see their faces light up when we found exactly what they needed. And once we saw Pepino come out of the dressing room, you could just see the spark in his eye, and he even teared up a little bit, and it was just very special to see that we could serve him and we can provide him with that experience. And we also found these very shiny black shoes, and he was so happy to see these shoes. He was like, "These are perfect, I'm going to take them home and my wife is going to be so happy." So that was really cool too. And then after our time there, we went to Impact Hub and we met Dimitri, who is the co-founder of Impact Hub in Greece. And we learned just how he started with just one idea and how his team made it possible. We learned about other organizations that started an Impact Hub and now have become so big and so influential and impactful in their communities. And while we were doing a tour, there was this one wall where some of the Impact Hub teammates had written what impact meant for them. And that reminded me of a conference that I had gone to earlier this year. And I learned a very special quote. And it was, volunteering is not simply random acts of kindness, but they're strategic acts of social justice. And that's exactly what I wrote. Impact for me is strategic acts of social justice. And that was my goal going to all of these organizations. I didn't want to just go I didn't want to go just to gain knowledge. I wanted to go to serve and to give back, and not only in that moment, but also to bring back home everything that they're doing for the refugee community and to share it with my community here. Because perhaps someone in my community may want to get involved and help out as well. And if we continue to keep those relationships with those organizations, then I'm sure that we can give back in effective and impactful ways. So overall, my experience was phenomenal. I had the time of my life going to all of the touristy places, tasting amazing food. It has been a lifelong dream of mine to go to Greece, and to have finally gone, I just still can't believe it. But I'm just so happy that I was able to go and to experience it. And on the way there, as I fulfilled my dream to serve these communities, I also discovered new and exciting dreams. And I am looking forward to putting them in action. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to Sage, to Valencia College, to my esteemed donor, to Leo, Francesco, Lucas, Catarina, Dr. Butler, and Professor Schreiber. Thank you very much for listening to my video and for making this experience unforgettable. Thank you. Bye-bye.